Thank you for taking the time to join us. And I am going to be presenting, the title of my presentation is The Rose of Reflection, Cultivating Meaning in Life's Garden. So the objectives of the presentation. This presentation, it's a reflective exploration of ourselves to help create a roadmap that will guide us to the path that aligns with our true selves. So we will start by first establishing where we are in our life's journey. Here, we will examine what we do that gives us meaning and purpose to uncover the desires currently motivating us. And then we will look at where do we want to go? Where do we want to go in life? We will do so by exploring our dreams and aspirations. And then we will look at what are the challenges and setbacks we face. Here, we'll explore our mental attitude and actions, that is, the patterns of thoughts, feelings, and actions we have related to the challenge. And then we'll look at how can we progress and strive in life as per our teachings. Here, we'll discuss spiritual laws and the importance of spiritual application. And then lastly, we'll look at how can we sustain our progress in life. And this is as per our teachings. And here we'll discuss the relevance of developing our spiritual faculties. And then we'll conclude with a meditation. So, finding where we are currently. Brothers and sorors, let's answer these two questions, and you can share your responses in the chat. So, first question, is there an activity that captivates and makes you lose track of time? If so, why do you like that activity? So is there an activity that captivates and makes you lose track of time? If so, why do you like that activity? You could share your responses in the chat box. We'll open the chat box now. And if we can read the responses as we get them, please.
Hiking makes me feel at peace in nature.
Hiking makes me feel at peace in nature. Okay.
And reading.
Reading.
Writing. My work, meditation, and walking in nature.
Walking in nature.
Gaming. Hiking and reading books. Reading something interesting contributes to knowledge and helps me to travel in my imagination. Movies keeps me mentally engaged. Work, enjoy helping others. Making music, it is expressive. Talking with my spiritual guides. Playing guitar. Learning something new makes me feel alive, and gardening soothes me. Learning, gardening, creative writing, taking walks in nature, AMORC webinars.
Thank you. Thank you. These brothers and sisters, they're very beautiful responses. Thank you for sharing with us. So our responses show a common trend, and that is our experiences give us meaning and our emotions give depth to our experiences. Someone mentioned hiking and says, hiking makes me feel at peace. So our experiences give us meaning and emotions give depth to our experiences. Without emotions, the experience might not be as meaningful to us. Therefore, we can conclude that our experiences give us meaning and that emotions play a role in the experiences that are most meaningful to us. Please make note of your responses. We'll build on them as we go through the presentation. Now, think of 3 major decisions you have made in the past. Preferably choose decisions that you freely made and were not forced on you. And if you can, pick decisions that cover different areas of life. So that's like relationships, our finance, and our career. So write down your desires. Let's take a moment to do that. So list 3 major decisions that you made recently. So for instance, decision 1 could be a new job that required you to relocate to a new state. Decision 2 could be marrying a loved one. Decision 3 could be starting a new business venture. So let's just take a quick moment to write down our decisions we made recently. And then what was the reason for making the decisions? So for instance, if decision 1 was a new job, getting a new job that required us to move to a new state, was that decision made because we needed more money? Or if decision 2 was marrying our loved one, was that decision made because we wanted a family? If decision 3 was starting a new venture, was that decision made because we wanted to work for ourselves? So let's take a moment to write down the reasons why we made those major decisions. Now let's examine our responses. From your response, what would you say were your motivators? From your response, what would you say were your motivators? The motivators are the reasons why we do things. We can have more than one motivator. For instance, if taking a new job was because it allowed us more time with our family, then the motivator then family is the motivator. Sorry, I mistakenly went to the wrong slide, just tapped on the wrong slide. So we'll go back so you can see the question. So as I was saying, for instance, if taking a new job was because it allowed us more time with our family, then family is the motivator. If starting a new business venture is because we wanted money, then money is the motivator. These motivators are our desires and can determine our choices and the path we follow in life. Desires are like seeds that have the potential for growth and transformation. Just as a rose seed holds within it the blueprint of the type of flower it shall be, so too do our desires hold our vision and aspirations. A rose seed is small and insignificant in size, yet it contains within it the potential to become a beautiful flower. So too are our desires that have the potential to grow into something magnificent, given the right conditions. Fratres and sorors, take a moment to reflect upon the desires or motivators you stated in the exercise. Imagine them as seeds planted in the garden of life. These desires grow and change alongside us, mirroring our journey of growth and change. From the seed comes the stem. The stem represents the different experiences, challenges, and lessons we derive from life. As with some rose plants, The stem may twist and turn. Every bend and curve in the stem is symbolic of the choices we make. Then comes the thorns. The thorns remind us that growth can come with discomfort and that life is full of ups and downs. At times, these very thorns can act as catalysts for growth, causing us to reflect on our desires. Then comes the blossom. The blossom is the result of the rose seed's journey through the soil and varying external conditions. Similarly, we too blossom as a result of realizing our true selves and our unique place in the universe. The fragrance of the rose stands for the joy and fulfillment that comes from living a meaningful life. Just as the rose shares its beauty with the world, so too might our discovery inspire and elevate others in their journey. To lead meaningful lives, we must consciously use our free will to cultivate desires that align with our true selves. Our choices shape the conditions of our existence. Like the rose plant that adapts to the varying conditions that arise, we too must learn to adapt to the conditions that arise from our choices. In doing so, we can transform our challenges into stepping stones, allowing our inner beauty to flourish amidst life's complexities. As we become aware of the desires that motivate us to do certain actions, we can change them to reflect our true aspirations. The desires are like seeds and determine the directions and paths we take in life. Just like the stem of a rose may twist and turn, so too our paths have twists and turns, depending on the nature of our desires. However, these twists and turns in life can be moderated through an understanding and application of the spiritual laws that govern life. When our desires are guided by spiritual principles, we open ourselves to a transformative way of living in which everything is different. Our way of seeing and experiencing becomes different. Let's proceed to the next exercise to determine what direction we want to take and the challenge or setback we might be facing. Take, for instance, a challenging relationship we would like to improve, such as a relationship with a boss, a loved one, a work colleague, or a friend. Now complete the following exercise. What is the challenge? For instance, it could be my relationship with my work colleague. Why is it challenging? This question is to determine the thought. He or she doesn't listen, for example. How does it make you feel? And this is to determine the emotions. It makes me feel uncomfortable, for example. What is the desired emotion we want to feel? In other words, how we would want to feel around this person. For example, I want to feel comfortable around him or her. What is the desired relationship? For example, I want to be friends with him or her. What can I give? This is referring to the actions. So take a moment to think of a challenge, a setback that we're currently going, and just answer the questions, if you can, please. Okay, so let's look at a closer look at our responses. We have reflected on the challenge and broken it down to the specific thoughts and emotions that arise within us as a result of our experience. This allows us to better understand our reactions and navigate the challenge more effectively. Let's now apply some spiritual laws to guide our actions. For non-members, spiritual laws, such as natural laws, are the working basis of all creation. So how can we progress? Let's work with the law of evolution in this situation. So the situation with, let's say, the relationship we want to improve. According to the law of evolution, the goal of each person is to attain perfection, and that our thoughts, our words, and action generate an equivalent reaction. In applying this law, we can choose to give what we seek. For example, if the desire is to feel comfortable around this person, take, for example, the work colleague, then we can take actions that make him or her comfortable around us. Another way of applying this great law is to attune to the perfected version of that relationship. So, friends and surrounds, let's close our eyes and visualize the perfect relationship we want with this person or what the situation, whatever the situation is. Is it a loving relationship? Is it a respectful relationship? Is it a relationship filled with trust? Whatever virtues or qualities we observe, we can start becoming them now. We can also choose to have our desired virtues reflected in all our daily activities, our relationships, and decisions. For example, if the virtue is love, as Frater Leo was talking about in his presentation, then we want to express love in all our doings, in our decision makings, in our relationships. And we'll also want to have the mental attitude that allows us to express love, the virtue of love. So, for instance, it could be having a mental attitude of empathy, putting ourselves in the other person's shoes. Or it could be something as I personally have this mantra I use. It's like, I stand for unity. It's a mental attitude that has helped me personally go through decision makings, especially when you don't agree with the decision of others for whatever reason. So when I remember this situation, I was at work, and before I share that, I do have some time. I remember this situation. I was at work, and it was decided, there was a course of action that was decided, and that didn't really align with what I usually like to do. But I watched, everyone, agreed with this decision. I didn't think it was the right decision for my own reasons. And I didn't really necessarily, really want to do, this or go in this course of action that I felt so strongly against. And then I remembered my mantra, I stand for unity. And because of that, it allowed me to join the group in something that I thought was not a great decision that they made. And with that, I was able to lead the group out of that situation. Just a lot of positivity. I injected a whole lot of positivity and light. And that course of action that I didn't agree with never happened. The group never did it. And with that decision, that mantra, I stand for unity, it opened up a whole lot of opportunities of uniting and connecting with this beautiful group that I wouldn't have been able to if I had, wanted to hold on to my ideas or values of, no, I don't think this is right, and therefore I'm not going to go for it. So it's a balance. It is a balance, and I learned a lot from that, and I love this mantra. I stand for unity. So that's an example of a mental attitude. And then the action, we could come up with what action allows us to express this virtue, or it could be, I will listen to everyone's opinion at the next meeting. So, brothers and sisters, you could take a minute to list your desired virtues and mental attitude, and just complete the table if you can, please. So, brothers and sisters, from this exercise, we have identified some of the qualities that are important to us. We have also established practical steps to begin acting on a challenging relationship as opposed to reacting to it. The spiritual concepts illustrated in the example we explored is that as we begin to see people differently, they will become different because transformation occurs within our perception. A similar concept is portrayed in the Heisenberg uncertainty principle that states that the observer always interacts with the observed, and that the modes of perceiving forms alters the forms themselves. When our desires are guided by spiritual principles, we create favorable conditions for ourselves. Let us briefly discuss the importance of the applications of spiritual laws. We often hear the phrase, everything is energy. Our desires are energy. A desire is a focus of energy, and when rooted in spiritual principles, it mobilizes spiritual energies or positive forces that eventually find expressions in our lives. Secondly, we are familiar with the law of change that governs all matter. This law asserts that all material substances, whether animate or inanimate, can be altered on the vibratory plane. Lastly, the learning process is incomplete without applying the knowledge we acquire. To understand ourselves, we must study and apply the spiritual laws that govern all of creation. The benefits of spirituality. Research has shown that spirituality has a positive impact on health outcomes. For instance, several studies have found that individuals who report higher levels of spiritual well-being have better immune systems and lower levels of inflammation. They also have higher levels of life satisfaction, longer life expectancies, lower rates of depression, anxiety, and stress, and better cope with life challenges. In conclusion, the knowledge that produces the greatest personal growth is the knowledge of the soul. The goal of each person is to attain perfection by means of the spiritual essence animating each of us. This is the law of evolution. Therefore, to live meaningful and purposeful lives is to abide by this law. That is, to perfect our thoughts, words, and actions. To do so, we must consciously use our free will to cultivate desires that are in alignment with this law of evolution. When our desires are guided by spiritual principles, we open ourselves to a transformative way of living that reshapes our perspectives and experiences. Brothers and sorrows, let us now proceed with a brief meditation. Sit comfortably with your back as straight as possible. Your hands placed on your thighs, palms down, and your feet placed on the ground, slightly apart from each other. Close your eyes. Take several neutral breaths. Feel a warm sensation awakening in both feet. Feel this sensation rising from both foot up your legs. To your lower back and stomach. To your upper back and upper chest. Through your arms. To your neck, your face, to the middle of your head, and stay there. Intone the vowel sound OM several times while concentrating on the center of your head. Say mentally, in a low voice, the following invocation. God of my heart, God of my realization, grant me the privilege of having a conscious experience of my soul. So mote it be. Resume normal breathing and remain silent as long as you feel the need. While in this state of receptivity, allow yourself to be infused by all the impressions that come to your consciousness. When you're done, you may open your eyes. Brothers and sorors, this brings me to the end of this presentation.